welcome back. Last night we witnessed the powerful beginning of Goguryeo with the myth of Jumong breaking out of the egg. Tonight we turn to a chapter of history that is hidden behind that founding myth, the most splendid yet tragic era. A princess who betrayed her country for love, and a prince who had to use that love. The story of King Daemusin, who greatly expanded Goguryeo's territory, but had to shed tears over the loss of his beloved son, Prince Hodong. The tragedy of the conquest of Nakrang, where the legend of the self-ringing drum Jamyeonggo resides, and the final wish of King Minjung, who chose a humble stone cave over a magnificent royal tomb. Volume 14 of the Samguk Sagi, which we will read tonight, is a record deeply imbued with the futility of power and human anguish, rather than just heroic conquests. May the lonely yet beautiful stories behind the glorious history calm your mind tonight. To help you fall into a deep sleep, the screen will slowly dim and fade away, guiding you into the silence of the deep night. Now, let go of your heavy thoughts, and let us journey together to the royal palace of Goguryeo, where the sad love songs of 1,000 years ago still echo. King Daemusin ascended the throne. Some call him King Daehaejuryu. His taboo name was Muhyul, and he was the third son of King Yuri. He was intelligent and wise from birth, and as he grew strong and heroic, he possessed great strategy. In the 33rd year of King Yuri's reign, Jeosu year, he was made crown prince at the age of 11. Upon this time, he ascended the throne. His mother was Lady Song, the daughter of Songyang, the king of Damol. Spring, first month. An earthquake occurred in the capital. A great amnesty was granted. Over 1,000 households of Baekje people came to surrender. Spring, third month. A temple for King Dongmyeong was established. Autumn, ninth month. The king hunted at Golgu stream and obtained a divine horse. He named it Jeoru. Winter, 10th month. King Daso of Buyeo sent an envoy to deliver a red crow that had one head and two bodies. Initially, a person from Buyeo found this crow and presented it to the king. Someone said, "The crow is black, but now it has changed to red, and it has one head and two bodies. This is a sign of two countries merging. Will the king perhaps absorb Goguryeo?" Daso was pleased and sent it, indicating what the person had said. The king discussed this with his ministers and replied, "Black is the color of the north, but now it has changed to become the color of the south. Furthermore, a red crow is an auspicious creature. Since you obtained it but did not keep it and instead sent it to me, the survival or destruction of the two countries cannot be known." When Daso heard this, he was startled and regretful. Year 4, winter, 12th month. The king dispatched an army to attack Buyeo. They camped by the Biryu River. Looking at the water's edge, it seemed there was a woman playing while holding a cauldron. Upon approaching and looking, there was only the cauldron. When they used it to cook rice, it heated itself without waiting for fire. Thus, they were able to prepare food and feed the whole army. Suddenly, a strong man appeared and said, "This cauldron is my family's possession. My younger sister lost it, and now the king has found it. Please let me carry it and follow you." The king then granted him the surname Buding, Cauldron Backing Clan. Arriving at Rimal Forest to sleep, they heard the sound of metal at night. When dawn came, the king sent people to search, and they found a golden seal and weapons. The king said, "These are gifts from heaven," and bowed to receive them. On the road, there was a man about 9 feet tall, with a white face and eyes that shone. He bowed to the king and said, "I am Goyu, a man from the northern sea. I heard privately that the great king is marching north to strike Buyeo. I request to follow and take the head of the Buyeo king." The king was pleased and permitted it. Another person said, "I am Maro, a man from Cheokgok. I request to lead the way with a long spear." The king permitted this also. Year 5, spring, 2nd month. The king advanced his army to the south of the Buyeo state. The land there was very muddy. The king ordered the selection of flat ground to set up camp, loosened saddles, and rested the soldiers, showing no sign of fear. The Buyeo king raised the whole country to go out and fight. He intended to attack while they were unprepared, so he whipped his horse to advance, but he got stuck in the mud and could not advance or retreat. The king thereupon signaled Goyu. Goyu drew his sword, roared, and struck them. The 10,000 troops collapsed and could not hold their ground. He advanced straight in, seized the Goguryeo king, and cut off his head. Although the Goguryeo people had lost their king and their morale was broken, they still did not yield and surrounded the Goguryeo army several layers deep. Since provisions were exhausted and the soldiers were hungry, the king was worried and fearful, not knowing what to do. He then prayed to heaven for spiritual aid. Suddenly, a heavy fog arose, and for 7 days, one could not distinguish people or objects within a foot. The king ordered straw effigies to be made, holding weapons and standing inside and outside the camp to act as deceptive troops. He then took a secret path and led the army out by night. He lost the divine horse from Golgu stream and the great cauldron from the source of the Biryu. Upon reaching Rimmel, the soldiers were starving and could not rise, so they caught wild beasts to supply food. When the king arrived back in the country, he gathered his subjects for a banquet and said, "Because I am unvirtuous, I lightly attacked Goguryeo. Although I killed their king, I did not destroy their country, and furthermore, I lost much of our military supplies. This is my fault." He then personally mourned the dead and visited the sick to comfort the people. Because of this, the people of the country were moved by the king's virtue and righteousness, and all pledged to sacrifice their lives for the affairs of the state. 3rd month. The divine horse Gyeoru returned, leading 100 Goguryeo horses, and they all arrived at Hogol, Return Valley beneath Hakban Ridge. Summer, 4th month. The younger brother of the Goguryeo King Daeso reached the banks of the Galsa River, established a state, and proclaimed himself king. He was the youngest son of King Gumwa of Goguryeo. History has lost his name. Initially, when Daeso was killed, he knew the country was about to fall, so with over 100 followers, he went to Amnak Valley. Seeing the king of Hadu out hunting, he killed him, took his people, and reached this place to establish a capital. This is King Galsa, autumn 7th month. A cousin of the Goguryeo king spoke to the people of the country, saying, "Our former king has died, the country is destroyed, and the people have no one to rely on." The king's younger brother fled and established a capital at Galsa. I am also unworthy and have no means to restore the nation. He then came to surrender with over 10,000 people. The king infiofed him as a king and settled him in the Yona region. Because there were patterns on his back, he was granted the surname Rock. Winter, 10th month. Goguryeo died. When his illness became critical, the king personally visited to comfort him. Goguryeo said, "I am a lowly person from the northern sea, yet I have repeatedly received thick grace. Though I die, it is as if I live. I dare not forget to repay you." The king deemed his words good, and because he had great merit, he buried him on the sunny side of Bukmyeong Mountain and ordered officials to offer sacrifices at the appropriate times. Spring, 2nd month. Olduji was appointed right assistant and entrusted with military and state aff. Year 9, winter 10th month. The king personally conquered the state of Gama, killed its king, and comforted the people. He forbade looting and merely made the land into a commandery county. 12th month. The king of the state of Guda, hearing that Gama was destroyed, feared harm would reach him, so he raised his country and came to surrender. Due to this, the territory expanded gradually. Year 10, spring, 1st month. Yolduji was appointed left assistant, and Samguk was appointed right assistant. Year 11, autumn, 7th month. The governor of Liaodong of Han led troops to attack. The king gathered his ministers and asked for strategies for war or defense. Right assistant Samguk said, "I have heard that those who rely on virtue prosper, and those who rely on force perish. Now China is in famine and chaos, and thieves arise in swarms, yet he sends out troops without a just cause. This is not a decision by the emperor and his ministers, but surely a border general seeking profit and arbitrarily invading our state. Since it goes against heaven and violates human principles, the army will surely have no success. If we rely on rugged terrain and strike with surprise, we will surely defeat them." Left assistant Yulduji said, "A small enemy's strength results in being captured by a large enemy. I estimate that the great king's soldiers are fewer than the Han soldiers. We can plan to strike them, but we cannot win by force." The king said, "How should we plan to strike?" He replied, "Now the Han soldiers have fought from afar, so their spearheads cannot be withstood. If the great king closes the fortress and secures himself, waiting for their army to become exhausted, and then goes out to strike them, it will be possible. The king agreed with this. He entered Winayam fortress and defended it firmly for several weeks. The Han soldiers surrounded it and did not disband. As the king's strength was exhausted and the soldiers weary, he said to Duji, "The situation is such that we cannot hold out. What shall we do?" Duji said, "The Han people think our land is rock and stone with no water springs. That is why they maintain a long siege, waiting for our people to become distressed. You should take carp from the pond, wrap them in water plants, and along with some fine wine, send them to feast the Han army." The king followed this and sent a letter saying, "I am foolish and have offended the superior state, causing the general to lead an army of 1,000,000 and be exposed to the elements in our humble border. I have no means to show thick intentions, so I abruptly use these meager items to make an offering to your attendants." Thereupon, the Han general said that there was water inside the fortress and it could not be taken quickly. He then reported back, "My emperor did not consider me untalented and ordered me to lead the army to ask about the great king's crimes. It has been over 10 days since we reached the border and we have not grasped the essentials. Now hearing the incoming decree, the words are compliant and respectful. How could I not use this as an excuse to report to the emperor?" He then led the retreat. Autumn, 7th month. Sangsu, a man from Maegu Valley, came to surrender along with his younger brother Wisu and cousin Udo. Year 14, winter, 11th month. There was thunder, no snow. Year 15, spring, 3rd month. The ministers Gudu, Ilgu, and Bungu were dismissed and made commoners. These three were headmen of the Biryu department. Their nature was greedy and base. They seized other people's wives, concubines, cattle, horses, and wealth, indulging in whatever they desired. If anyone did not give, they whipped them, so people all harbored resentment. The king heard of this and wished to kill them, but because they were old subjects of Dongmyeong, he could not bear to apply the extreme penalty, so he merely dismissed them. He then sent Chuso, an emissary of the southern department, to replace them, as headman. Once Chuso assumed office, he built a separate large house to dwell in, and did not allow the sinners Gudu and others to ascend the hall. Gudu and the others went before him and reported, "We small men intentionally violated the king's law and cannot overcome our shame and regret. If the Lord pardons our faults and allows us to renew ourselves, we will die without regret." Chuso led them up, sat with them and said, "People cannot be without faults. If one has faults and can correct them, there is no greater good." He then became friends with them. Gudu and the others were moved and ashamed and did not do evil again. The king heard this and said, "Chuso did not use severity, but was able to punish evil with wisdom. He can be called capable." He granted him the surname Daesil. Summer, 4th month. Prince Hodong traveled to Goguryeo. King Choeri of Nakrang went out and saw him. He asked, "Observing your countenance, you are not an ordinary person. Are you not the son of the divine king of the northern state?" They returned together, and he gave his daughter to him as a wife. Later, Hodong returned to his country and secretly sent a person to tell the daughter of the Cho clan, "If you can enter your country's armory and cut the drum and horn, I will welcome you with rights. If not, I will not." Previously, Nakrang had a drum and horn. If there were enemy soldiers, they sounded by themselves. So he ordered them broken. Thereupon the daughter of Choe took a sharp knife, secretly entered the armory, and cut the face of the drum and the mouth of the horn to inform Hodong. Hodong urged the king to attack Nakrang. Choeri, because the drum and horn did not sound, was unprepared. Our troops arrived beneath the fortress walls, and only then did he know the drum and horn were both broken. He finally killed the girl and came out to surrender. Some say he wished to destroy Nakrang, so he requested marriage, took the daughter as a wife for his son, later sent her back to her own country to destroy their weapons. Winter, 11th month. Prince Hodong committed suicide. Hodong was born of the king's second consort, the granddaughter of King Galsa. His face was beautiful, and the king loved him greatly, hence the name Hodong, fond child. The first queen feared he would seize the position of heir from the crown prince. So she slandered him to the king, saying, "Hodong does not treat me with propriety. It seems he intends to commit incest. The king said, "Why do you hate him? Because he is another's child." The queen knew the king did not believe her, and fearing disaster would befall her, she wept and said, "Please, great king, watch secretly. If there is no such matter, I will confess my guilt myself." Thereupon the great king could not help but suspect and intended to punish him. Someone said to Hodong, "Why do you not explain yourself?" He replied, "If I explain, it reveals my mother's evil and causes the king worry. Can this be called filial piety?" He then fell upon his sword and died. Critique. The current king believed slanderous words and killed an innocent beloved son. His lack of benevolence is not worth discussing, but Hodong was not without fault. Why? When a son is reprimanded by his father, he should be like Shun towards Gusu. Receive small beatings but flee from large ones, so as not to trap the father in unrighteousness. Hodong did not know to do this and died where he should not have. This can be called sticking to small prudence while being ignorant of great righteousness. Is this not a parallel to Shensheng, the duke's son? 12th month. Prince Heu was established as crown prince. An envoy was sent to Han to offer tribute. Emperor Guangwu restored his title of king. This was the 8th year of Jianwu. The king attacked Nakrang and destroyed it. Spring 4th, 3rd month, it hailed in the capital. Autumn 7th month, frost fell and killed the crops. 8th month, plum blossoms bloomed. Year 27 autumn, end 9th month. Emperor Guangwu of Han sent soldiers across the sea to attack Nakrang, taking the land and making it into commanderies and counties. The area south of the Salsu River belonged to Han. Winter 10th month, the king passed away. He was buried at Daesurim Plain and given the title King Daemusin, King Mobun.